Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm sorry it's been a while. I saw that reporting from Ukraine got sick too and he's not uploading either, so just like Yeet said, it's all up to me. I think I'll do a little week recap along with some current news. Alright, we'll start with what's going on in the Kherson region because this is definitely the most dynamic area. It seems like Ukraine's been paying a lot of attention to this area recently because they conducted a raid by Kozachi Laheri earlier in the week, and it seemed like their main goal was just to push Russian positions back a bit. This was done with special operation forces, but they withdrew when it was over. They also expanded their control over the Antonovsky Bridge. The large majority of this island is a gray zone, which means that the Russians still have artillery that can fire there, but they don't have a permanent presence here because it's kind of soupy and gross and squishy. Another area where they made progress was across the Tonka. I already mentioned Yeet once in this video, which is starting to put them a lot closer to Oleshki, which is the main Russian fortification in this segment of the area. Another gray area where Ukraine established a permanent presence is in the two Ostrov Islands, which means islands, so these are islands. Thank you to the guy in the comments for telling me that. But this allows them to protect their flank of this push towards Oleshki. Ukraine has been doing similar things to this since April, but after the dam blew, a lot of the islands became underwater, and now it seems like they're finally all drying up and Ukraine's able to operate here again. It seems like Russia also moved back into the gray zone and recaptured Belgorod and the South Potemkin Island. Overall, I think the main strategy of the push towards Oleshki is to draw Russian reserves away by attempting to take the city, hijacking the fortifications, and then holding it across the Tonka River and using it as sort of a stronghold that they'll just camp out in and not try to attack outwards, but just set up defenses in the area to draw as many Russians away from Zaporizhzhia as possible. I think that's likely the goal of this because the reason why the Russian Kherson front failed was because Ukraine was blowing the bridges and they just couldn't supply it across the Dnipro River. But at least then they had bridges, but they were just damaged. Now Ukraine doesn't have any bridges to do anything with here. But clearing parts of the delta will help because then the Russians lose firing positions that they use to shell Kherson city. The main problem is kind of like what I said earlier, the soup that makes it hard to walk around in this area, and the lack of bridges makes it so it's really hard to transport heavy equipment over. But overall, we'll just see what happens on this front. Alright, now let's just go counterclockwise. Ukraine has made minor gains in the direction of Verbove, reaching the main Russian defense line in the area, as well as the northern part of Robotine has sort of turned into a gray zone where it's too dangerous for the Russians to be in there, as well as the Ukrainians, because both sides have artillery in different positions. That's mainly what's going on there. It seems like Ukraine is stepping up combat operations in Bilohirya and Priyutne. There have been reports of fights happening inside of the settlements instead of on the outskirts like it's been for a while. The situation in Urozhaine is sort of not really clear right now. The Russians say that the Ukrainians have moved into the northern part and they don't really know anything past that. It seems like the fights are going on here and they're just not being documented. Overall, this is kind of like a dumb position for Russia to hold. They're surrounded by multiple sides and getting artillery fired in there all day. So I think what they're doing is just holding this so the Russians can prepare fortifications by Staromlenivka and then they'll withdraw once those are prepared. But the time that they're getting is being paid with men who are getting picked off by artillery inside of Staromayorsk and other areas. The Russian attack by Boroba has been pretty much reversed at this point. The Ukrainians have recaptured this area. The solid black line is where the front line was before the offensive, and the one closest to it is where the line is now. Chervonopopivka is currently the only one that they're holding on to, and it's just a couple bridgeheads across the area. And that's all I've got for you guys today. If you actually want to know why I was gone, classes started up again and I was getting stressed with that, trying to figure out my schedule and when I could release videos. And I'm a bitch too, and I just decided not to. Also, I know I've kind of made a joke about it, but I really hope that reporting from Ukraine gets better because it sucks to be sick. Alright, see you guys later.